Hello, people. Welcome to my channel Education Adda. Hope you all are fine and doing well with your health and as well as with your studies. I hope you all will learn many new things and you all will get very informative videos here of any topic you want. I'm going to teach you fifth chapter of science of class 9, that is fundamental unit of life, as we all know, that is the cell. So, all living organisms in this universe are made up of cells. They either exist as a single cell or as a combination of multiple cells. The cell is the structural and functional unit of life. It is the basic unit of life. It is discovered by Robert Hooke in 1831 in Koch's lice with the help of primitive microscope. Leeuwenhoek discovered the free living cells in pond water with the improved microscope in the year 1674. Robert Brown discovered the nucleus in the cell in 1831. Purkinje coined the term protoplasm for the fluid substance of the cell in 1839. So the first discovery was done with the primitive microscope. The second discovery was done with the improved microscope. Before going on to the main points of the cell theory, I would like to explain how the cell was discovered. So, prior to 1665, most humans were unaware that the microscopic world existed. But that year, Robert Hooke published his groundbreaking Micrographia, a book that revealed his previously unseen and unknown world. Hooke was one of a small handful of scientists to embrace the first microscopes, improve them, and use them to discover nature's hidden details. He designed his own light microscope, which used multiple glass lenses to light and magnify specimens. Under his microscope, Hooke examined a diverse collection of organisms. A gifted illustrator, he drew and explained what he saw. This record of his observations became Micrographia. Some of Hooke's images were so curious and extraordinary that people refused to believe they were real. While observing cork through his microscope, Hooke saw tiny box like cavities, which he illustrated and described as cells. He had discovered plant cells. Hooke's discovery led to the understanding of cell as the smallest unit of life, that is, the foundation of cell theory. So, this was how the cell was discovered. It was Robert Hooke who discovered the cells by doing experiments on a cork, and finally, he discovered the cells. The theory that all the plants and animals are composed of cells and the cell is the basic unit of life was presented by two biologists, Sheldon and Sachwan. So, these two biologists presented the cell, but it was discovered by Robert Hooke. The cell theory was further expanded by suggesting that all cells arise from pre-existing cells. The cells which were coming, they all were pre-existing. They were existing from the ones which are already there. Here, one question arises: how can multicellular organisms originate from a single cell? A cell has the capability to divide itself into cells of its own type. Therefore, more cells can generate from an already existing cell. There are two types of organisms. On the basis of number of cells, organisms are of two types. Unicellular means one, multicellular means uni means one and multi means more than one. So unicellular organism and multicellular organism. Unicellular organism, these organisms are single celled which perform all the functions. Example: amoeba, paramecium, bacteria. Next was multicellular organism. Many cells group together to perform different function in the body and also form various body parts. Example: fungi and plants. The shape of the cell may vary depending upon the type of function they perform in an organism. Cells are capable of changing their shape. For example, the white blood cells and amoeba can change shapes on their own. The shape and size of cell are different according to the kind of function they perform. There is division of labor in cells. Here is one term is there, division of labor. We need to understand what does it mean. So division of labor is a term that describe the specialized functions of cell organelles which come together to ensure the cell is capable of surviving as well as performing its role in the body. For example, we can take beta cell. Beta cell in pancreas for releasing insulin into the bloodstream. So beta cell is used for releasing insulin. It is found in pancreas and it releases insulin into the bloodstream. One more example we can take here is each cell has certain kind of cell organelles to perform different type of function like mitochondria for respiration. Now, there are two types of cells, prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryote cells of organism lacks nuclear membrane. In this, the nuclear membrane is absent, whereas in eukaryotes, cells of organism have nuclear membrane. Next point, nucleolus is absent in prokaryotes and in eukaryotes, nucleolus is present. Another, they have single chromosomes and in eukaryotes, single or multi chromosomes. In prokaryotes, reproduction is always asexual, whereas here reproduction is both sexual and asexual. Prokaryotes are always unicellular and in this they are often multicellular. Membrane bound cell organelles are absent. Centriole is absent. Membrane bound or organelles are present like mitochondria, whereas in eukaryotes, centriole is present only in animal cells. In prokaryotes, cell division is by binary fission, as well as in eukaryotes, cell division is by mitosis or meiosis process. In prokaryotes, we can take the example of bacteria, blue-green algae. And here we can take the example of fungi as well as plant cell, animal cells, etc. These are the differences between the prokaryotes and eukaryotes. I have given the main points here. You people can frame the sentences and write your answers in your exams also. We'll see one more question here. That is, how can cells perform distinct functions in organisms? Cells are capable of performing multiple functions in an organism. A cell contains specific components which are called organelles. Each organelle in the cell can perform different functions such as making new cells or clearing the waste of the cell. Thus, organelles allow a cell to perform several kinds of activities in an organism. Now, we will study the difference between plant cell and animal cell. So in animal cells, let's see what all are there and what are absent. In animal cell wall is absent, plastids are absent and centrioles are present. Golgi bodies are present and vacuoles are absent, and if present then they are very small, and centrosome is present with one or two centrioles. Now let's move on to the plant cell. Cell wall is present, plastids are present, but centrioles are absent. Golgi bodies are present and called dictosome, and vacuoles are present and they are large in size. Centrosome is absent in plant cells. So if we compare both of them, in animal cell wall is absent, whereas cell wall is present in plant cell. In animal cell, plastids are absent and In plant cell, plastids are present. Centrioles are present in animal cells. Centrioles are absent in plant cell. Golgi bodies are present in animal cell. Golgi bodies are present and they are called as dictosome. In animal cell, vacuoles are absent, and if they are present also, they are very small in size. Here in plant cell, vacuoles are present and they are large in size, whereas in animal cells, centrosome is present with one or two centrioles. In plant cells, centrosome is absent. So these were the main differences which I have covered in very small points for you to remember. You all can form the sentences and present it in your answers in your exams. Here is the picture of animal cell as well as plant cell. So as we can see, in animal cell, plasma membrane, centriole, lysosomes, ribosomes, mitochondria, then rough endoplasmic reticulum, cytoplasm, nucleus, nuclear envelope, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, all these are the parts of the cell in animal cell. Now we will study each of them one by one and also with their functions. Now we'll see the gaseous exchange between the cell and its external environment. So these movements are done by two processes. One is diffusion, other one is osmosis. So we'll study each of them. What is diffusion? Movement of oxygen and carbon dioxide to and from the cells is carried out by means of diffusion. So the spontaneous movement of a substance from a region of high concentration to the region of low concentration is called diffusion. Some substances like carbon dioxide or oxygen can move across the cell membrane by a process called diffusion. Cell also obtains nutrition from the environment. So the movement of substance from high region to the concentration of the low region is known as diffusion. Another movement, okay, so this was the gaseous exchange between the cell and its external environment. Now we are going to see movement of water between the cell and its external environment. So it is carried out by the means of osmosis. The movement of water molecules through selectively permeable membrane along the concentration gradient is called osmosis. Plant cells tend to obtain water through osmosis. So this is the process through which the plant cells obtain water, and in this the water molecules move through the permeable membrane with the concentration gradient that is known as the osmosis. Therefore, we can say that osmosis is just a special case of the process of diffusion. What happened to cell in sugar or salt solution? So now we are going to study about hypotonic or hypertonic or isotonic solution, and we are going to see the result, what happens to the cell when it is dipped into all the three solutions. So hypotonic solutions, if the concentration of water outside the cell is higher than the concentration of water inside the cell gains water by the process of osmosis. As you can see here in the picture, I have shown you in this picture that net water gains and cell swells. So if the concentration of water outside the cell is higher than the concentration of water inside the cell gains water by the process of osmosis. And I have made it into a short table here that medium surrounding cell has higher water concentration than the cell. This is the condition here. And what is the result? That cell will gain water by osmosis and likely to swell up. So this was about hypotonic solution. Now we will study the isotonic solution. So in isotonic solution, if the cells are put in an environment which has similar concentration of water as present inside, this state allows for the free movement of water across the membrane without changing concentration of solutions on either side. So therefore the size of the cell does not vary in an isotonic solution because there is no net movement of water. As we can see here in the picture, no net loss or no gain. So in isotonic solution, the cell do not lose anything or do not even gain anything. So here the condition is medium has exactly same water concentration as the cell, whereas the result is water crosses the cell membrane in both directions and cell will stay in the same size. No loss and no gain in isotonic solution. Now we will see hypertonic solution. What happens to the cell in hypertonic solution? In hypertonic solutions, if the cells are kept in an environment which has lower concentration of water than what is present inside the cell, then due to the process of osmosis, water moves out of the cells. This results in a decrease in size of the cells as more amount of water comes out of the cell. As we can see here in the picture, net water loss and the cell shrinks. Here the condition is that medium has lower concentration of water than the cell and the result is water crosses the cell in both directions, but more water leaves the cell than enters it. So this was about the three solutions and the results, what happens to the cell in all these three solutions. Now we will study the function and properties of each organelle one by one. So the first one is plasma membrane or cell membrane. This is the outermost covering of the cell that separates the contents of the cell from its external environment. So I do not have to explain you anything as the lines are very simple. So you just have to note down the properties, functions and about the organelles, and you people can frame it in your answers at the time of your exams. Next, the plasma membrane allows or permits the entry and exit of some materials in and out of the cell. The third point is it also prevents movement of some other materials. The cell membrane is called selectively permeable membrane. Here you can highlight it that the cell membrane is called selectively permeable membrane. It can be asked in 1 markers and it is made up of lipid and protein. This question can also be framed what it is made up of. So it is made up of lipid and protein. Next, properties of plasma membrane. It is very flexible because it is made up of organic molecules called lipids and proteins. Its flexibility enables cell to engulf in food and other from the external environment. This process is called endocytosis. Here the word and this process is given endocytosis. So what is endocytosis? We need to understand the meaning of endocytosis. Endocytosis is a process by which the plasma membrane engulfs food and other materials inside the cell. And amoeba also acquires its food through the process of endocytosis. Now we'll see the functions of plasma membrane. It permits the entry and exit of some materials in and out of the cell. So it gives entry and also gives exit to some of the materials inside the cell and even outside the cell. It prevents movement of some other materials not required for the cell as it acts like selectively permeable membrane. So this was all about the plasma membrane or the cell membrane. Now we'll move on to the next organelle, its functions and also properties. Our next organelle is cell wall. Cell wall is another rigid outer covering in addition to the plasma membrane found in plant cell. The cell wall lies outside the plasma membrane. The very outer covering is uh, plasma membrane, and even outside the plasma membrane lies the cell wall. The plant cell wall is mainly composed of cellulose, and cellulose is a complex substance which provides structural strength to plants. Now we'll see the function of cell wall. Cell walls permit the cells of plants, fungi, and bacteria to withstand very dilute is hypotonic solution, external media without bursting. In such media, the cells tend to take up water by osmosis. The cell swells, building up pressure against the cell wall. The wall exerts an equal pressure against the swollen cell. So, because of cell wall, cells can withstand much greater changes in the surrounding medium than animal cells. So, I have covered the important points of the cell wall for you to understand it easily, and even you people can remember it for a longer period of time. Our next topic is plasmolysis. When a living plant cell loses water through osmosis, there is shrinkage or contraction of the contents of the cell away from the cell wall, and this phenomena is known as plasmolysis. So, when a living plant cell, the plant cell, when it loses water through the process of osmosis, if it's losing water, what is going to happen? It is going, there will be shrinkage and contractions in the contents of the cell. So, this process is known as plasmolysis. What is nucleus? The next one is nucleus. It is called the brain of the cell as it controls all the activities of cell. So nucleus controls all the activities of the cell. Here is the diagram of nucleus, and as you can see, this black circle is the nucleolus and nucleoplasm, and the thread-like structure is the chromatin, and the next one is the nucleus pores. Next is composition of nucleus. The nucleus has a double layered covering called nuclear membrane. The nuclear membrane has pores which allow the transfer of material from inside the nucleus to the cytoplasm. Next, the nucleus contains chromosomes which are visible as rod shaped structures only when the cell is about to divide. Here, the important ones can be that they are visible as rod shaped, and only when the cell is about to divide. Our next topic is functions of chromosomes. So chromosomes contain information for inheritance of features from parents to next generation in the form of DNA. The full form of DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid, and chromosomes are composed of DNA and protein. So chromosomes are having the information which the child gets from the parents, and uh, it contains DNA, and DNA is having all the information which we get from our parents, like same origin. We are having some qualities of our parents inside us because of DNA. DNA molecules contain the information necessary for constructing and organizing cells. Functional segments of DNA are called genes. In non-dividing cell, this DNA is present as part of chromatin material. So we'll see now what is chromatin material. Chromatin material is visible as entangled mass of thread-like structures. Whenever the cell is about to divide, the chromatin material gets organized into chromosomes and perform cell division. This was all about the chromosomes, and we have seen what are genes, what is chromatin, and what is DNA also. And now we'll move to the next topic. Now, let's move on to the functions of nucleus. The nucleus plays a central role in cellular reproduction. It is the process by which a single cell divides and forms two new cells. It also plays a crucial part, along with the environment, in determining the way the cell will develop and what form it will exhibit at maturity by directing the chemical activities of the cell. Next one is nucleoid. In some organisms like bacteria, the nuclear region of the cell may be poorly defined due to the absence of a nuclear membrane. Such an undefined nuclear region containing only nucleic acid is called a nucleoid. Next is cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is the fluid content inside the plasma membrane. It is a fluid which is present into the plasma membrane. It also contains many specialized cell organelles, and each of these organelles perform a specific function for the cell. So now we'll see the functions of cytoplasm. It has an exchange of material between cell organelles. It acts as store of vital chemicals such as amino acid, glucose, vitamins and iron, etc. It is the site of certain metabolic pathways such as glycolysis. Now we move on to endoplasmic reticulum. The endoplasmic reticulum is a large network of membrane bound tubes and sheaths. It looks like long tubules or round or oblong bags, which is known as vesicles. The ER membrane is similar in structure to the plasma membrane. It is also made up of lipid and proteins. So there are two types of endoplasmic reticulum, the rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Its functions are: rough endoplasmic reticulum looks rough under a microscope because it has particles called ribosomes attached to its surface. The ribosomes, which are present in all active cells, are the sites of protein manufacture. The manufactured proteins are then sent to various places in the cell depending on need using the endoplasmic reticulum. So as you all can see, all these are the diagrams of endoplasmic reticulums. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum helps in the manufacture of fat molecules or lipids important for cell function. So this in exams you can get the functions of rough endoplasmic reticulum as well as smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So in this topic you will get the both, like here the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, we can see here it's given that it helps in the manufacture of fat molecules, lipids, or important for cell function. Some of these proteins and lipids help in building the cell membrane. This process is known as membrane biogenesis. One more important term for exam point of view: membrane biogenesis. Some other proteins and lipids function as enzymes and hormones. Although the endoplasmic reticulum varies greatly in appearance in different cells, it always forms a network system. One function of the endoplasmic reticulum is to serve as channels for the transport of material, especially proteins, between various regions of the cytoplasm or between the cytoplasm and the nucleus. The endoplasmic reticulum also functions as a cytoplasmic framework, providing a surface for some of the biochemical activities of the cell. In the liver, cells of the group of animals called vertebrates, a smooth endoplasmic reticulum plays a crucial role in detoxifying many poisons and drugs. I have covered the functions of rough and smooth endoplasmic reticulum both. So what you have to do is just pen down all the points and you have to study them, so it will be easy for you to study it for the exams. Next is Golgi apparatus. The Golgi apparatus consists of a system of membrane-bound vesicles arranged approximately parallel to each other in stacks called cisterns. They are arranged into parallel and they are parallel to each other and they are called cisterns. These membranes often have connections with the membranes of endoplasmic reticulum and therefore constitute another portion of a complex cellular membrane system. What is the function of Golgi body? The material synthesized near the endoplasmic reticulum is packaged and dispatched to various targets inside and outside the cell through the Golgi apparatus. Its functions include the storage, modification, and packaging of products in vesicles. In some cases, complex sugars may be made from simple sugars in the Golgi apparatus. So, here the complex sugars are made from simple sugars, and this process is done in the Golgi apparatus. The Golgi apparatus is also involved in the formation of lysosomes. So this point can be important, that the Golgi apparatus is involved into the formation of lysosomes. Lysosomes are a kind of waste disposal system of the cell. It helps to keep the cell clean by digesting any foreign material as well as worn out cell organelles. Lysosomes have membrane bounded structure whose sacs are filled with digestive enzymes. What are the functions of lysosomes? Lysosomes break foreign materials entering the cell such as bacteria or food as well as old organelles into small pieces. They contain powerful digestive enzymes which are made into rough endoplasmic reticulum, which is capable of breaking down all organic material made in RER, that is rough endoplasmic reticulum. During the disturbance in cellular metabolism, such as when the cell gets damaged, lysosomes may burst and enzymes digest their own cell. Therefore, lysosomes are known as the suicide bags of a cell. This is important, that suicide bags of the cell. It is as in the exams in 1 marks that name the organelle which is known as the suicide bag of a cell, that is lysosome. Now, the most important part of the cell organelle is the mitochondria, because it is known as the powerhouse of the cell. It provides energy and power to each and every part of the cell. So let's see the structure of mitochondria. Mitochondria have two membrane coverings. The outer membrane is very porous while the inner membrane is deeply folded. These folds create a large surface area for ATP generating chemical reactions. What is ATP? That is adenosine triphosphate. The energy required for various chemical activities needed for life is released by mitochondria in the form of ATP, and here is the full form of ATP. ATP is known as the energy currency of the cell. The body uses energy stored in ATP for making new chemical compounds and for mechanical work. Mitochondria have their own DNA and ribosomes. Therefore, mitochondria are able to make some of their own proteins. Whenever we study about cell, the most important organelle is the mitochondria, because it is known as the powerhouse of the cell. It also the energy is released in the form of ATP into mitochondria. It is also known as the energy currency of the cell, and they have their own DNA and ribosomes. Therefore, the mitochondria are able to make their own proteins. Next is the plastids. Plastids are present only in plant cells. There are three types of plastids: chromoplast, leucoplast, and chloroplast. So, chromoplasts are the colored plastids, leucoplasts are the white or colorless plastids, and chloroplasts contain the pigment chlorophyll. Structure of plastids. The internal organization of the plastids consists of numerous membrane layers embedded in a material called the stroma. Plastids also have their own DNA and ribosomes like mitochondria and similar to its structure. The function of plastids. Chloroplasts are important for photosynthesis in plants. Chloroplasts also contain various yellow or orange pigments in addition to chlorophyll. Leucoplasts are primarily organelles in which materials such as starch, oils, and protein granules are stored. Next topic, vacuoles. Vacuoles are storage sacs for solid or liquid contents. They are small sized in animal cells while plant cells are very large vacuoles. Now, functions of vacuoles. The central vacuole of some plant cells may occupy 50 to 90% of the cell volume. In plant cells, vacuoles are full of cell sap and provide turgidity and rigidity to the cell. Many important substances in the life of the plant cell are stored in vacuoles, which include amino acids, sugars, various organic acids, and some proteins. In single-celled organisms like amoeba, the food vacuole contains the food items that the amoeba has consumed. In some unicellular organisms, specialized vacuoles also play important role in expelling excess water and some waste from the cell. Guys, we have covered all the topics of this chapter, the fundamental unit of life, and I have not given you a very detailed explanation because I have covered all the points, the very important points into this video in the form of notes. You all can note it down and read them as your notes before the exams, and they are going to fetch you very good marks. I can assure you that, because important points have been covered. So instead of reading the books, you can just go through this video and all the topics I have covered. So I think I do not need to give you the detailed explanation and make the video big and waste your time. So this, in short, I have made it, and no detailed explanation has been given because all the points have been covered. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope you people liked what I have taught you today. I have covered important topics with important notes in this video of this chapter. All you have to do is like, share, and subscribe my channel. Thank you so much for watching this video.